Good morning, everybody. Thank the TNOA for having this brilliant session here at LAICO in Madurai. And also thank all my teachers who have been closely guiding me in all the work which we do across the system. So this is something really interesting, where we are into day-to-day work, and then we have some task and we try to complete it, but who is doing it for us? No, it's the leadership and also the team which we have groomed over a period of time. It may be your theater assistant or an optometrist or people who are helping in your OPD or even beyond that. No, but what I'm going to share with you is it just having people do what they are told, or is it there something which is deeper in it? So when you are talking about these terms, especially ownership and accountability, I think this is a nice video which we saw several years back.
सर आपके लिए उस बार कार पे सर आइए सर एक चल चल
I hate this country.
तुम चलो तो हिंदुस्तान चले, तुम चलो तो हिंदुस्तान चले, तुम चलो तो हिंदुस्तान चले, तुम चलो तो हिंदुस्तान चले। लगा हाथ के सूरज सुबह निकाला करे, हथेलियों में भरे धूप और उछाला करे। ओ लगा हाथ के सूरज सुबह निकाला करे, हथेलियों में भरे
So is this his job? Is he accountable for it, or has he owned it? No, that is what this interesting video shows. There was a politician crossing. There is a policeman who's having coffee. These are people who are really accountable for that. No, a tree across a road, but nobody owned it. No, at the end of the day, we saw what happened in that particular video. So these are three terms, which comes, you may be coming across these terms, which sound similar, but they're slightly different. So we'll have to understand how is it different, to be able to understand more of how we can get some of this out of it. So a set of things that is expected from one, that is what is responsibility. I'm sure when you have someone in your facility, right? Let's say it's a optometrist. You have a set of job descriptions for them. And then you make sure that they do that by giving them the adequate training, or if they are already trained, you coach them to do that part. And they are usually task focused. And then many of the times it's kind of enforced. You have to enforce that particular responsibility on them. But if you see accountability on the other side, which is very important, they take initiative. For example, I would give you, let's say you have an autoclave staff or a CSST staff who is working from 4 to 8. And then at 5 or 5:30, after the first load, the power supply is off. You have a shutdown in the hospital, right? So somebody who is responsible would wait for some time and then leave, because that is what their job description is. I'll work from 4 to 8 p.m. And then after 8, I would leave. And then come back and say that there's only one load ready, and we put the next load the next day morning. Somebody who's accountable, what will they do? They would try to fix it, right? They will get an electrician, fix that electrical issue, make sure the power is again there, and then maybe work up to 9 or 10 and then finish that job. So that's a simple example I would give you, which may happen in your hospital with certain staff and may not be with certain teams. And that is what is doing without any excuses. And if you see, they are focused on the result. They're not just focused on that particular job, they're focused on the result of it. I have to finish all the bins. That is what their focus is. And many of the times you have to realize that things like this can be made into a system. If you can make all this into a system, then you can sustain some of the best practices. So in simple words, right? Taking ownership of your activities is responsibility. Like, this is what my job is. Now I'm doing NCT, fine. But if there is an error, what do? I go beyond that to fix it, to get a reading in that. I may change from 0 to 60 or clean the sensor and get that reading. So taking ownership of the results is accountability. So then what is ownership? Now, going beyond that. Now, somebody, you may see in your own facility, they own your hospital. And they'll be like that in Ennod Aspathri. So what they do actually is taking accountability not only for the results, they also work to improve the future results. Now, they are a part of a team which is always thinking with the leadership to make sure that you have better results, not now, but also for the future. See, what you have to again understand is there is something called individual accountability and a team accountability. Individual is sometimes a little easy in the meaning, you train them, you coach them, you allow them to do that job perfectly, they may be doing it. Some people may incentivize, some people may little bit help them or support their family, or maybe they would have other kind of benefits. So that kind of individual kind of accountability is sometimes practically possible and it's easier to enforce. But the most difficult part is to enforce the team accountability. And that's where we little bit focus on. So what again is very important is if we want the team to be accountable, first we should be a role model. So whenever people like alumni who are, many of the alumni who are here now and who are in Dr. V's time, we have seen that kind of an accountability in him. Even if he is not able to bend, he will be trying to pick up even a small paper. So I was trying to walk down the stairs. I don't know who dropped it. There was a parking ticket of airport. So it's that kind of an accountability which you have seen your leadership practice. At 7 a.m., you'll be in the entrance. So you'll have to face him before you enter into the hospital. So these are things, which have to be practiced by the leadership. So it's very simple. You can't inspire others to be accountable until you become a shining beacon of an accountability of yourself. And how do you do that? There are 3 simple ways of doing it. It looks simple, but you'll have to practice day in and day out. One is, whenever there is an issue, we have to stop pointing fingers. You can't blame saying that, the wire kalti vittinga. Machine la vandu power poiruchu. Innum na thirupi adha tune pannanom. So you will have to see what is happening. We can't be blaming, because what we have seen is if you start blaming, it kills accountability. It's like a bad virus like COVID. It spreads. If you start blaming, then it spreads so fast that it typically kills accountability wherever it is. And then people want to just do their job and leave. They don't want to do anything beyond what they are supposed to do. And many of the times we have to look at the mirror. We have to look at ourselves. Where is the problem? Are we a part of the problem? Maybe we have not empowered them. Maybe we have not created a good systems and processes to make sure that happens. Like the power supply, the example I gave you. Maybe there was some other electrical issue which was happening, and that day it dripped. Can I fix that? So somewhere, whenever there is an issue, I think we have to look at the mirror and say, acknowledge what is your part in the problem. And the third important thing, is engineer solutions, which is very important. Many of the times we don't realize that. So we have to see how we can engineer some of the solutions, how we can think out of the box to make sure that it doesn't happen. For example, the simple wire again. Can I fix it somewhere where nobody can pull it off? Can I mark the UPS in a different color or put a UPS sticker so that nobody switches off that UPS switch? I'm sure it all happens in every day. Somebody will switch it off and then your UPS will go, the power will go, your machine will go off. And then you'll say, என்னம்மா இதை நிறுத்தக்கூடாதுன்னு எத்தனை தடவை சொல்லியிருக்கேன், கேட்குறியா நீயே? Immediately we do that. And then we say, யாரும் இப்படி பண்ணாதீங்க இனிமே, எல்லாருக்கும் சொல்லிக் கொடு. That's not very difficult. That will help at that particular time. In a couple of months, it can again happen. And in a place like Aravind or in many of those places, even in Arasan, you'll have a lot of staff coming in and going out, like a train. They'll come in, they'll get down in one or the other station, and then they'll leave. So you'll have to engineer solutions which can fix processes and not people. So many of the time, what we understand is it's very difficult to change behaviors, but you can change a system which can make that behavior better. And that is what you see in many of those Japanese innovations which come, the Kaizen, Poke, Yoke, and all that. So there is error-free system. So you think like that. Can I make this place error-free? So that is how you keep looking at solutions. So when you talk about individual accountability, and I'm going to share in the next 5-10 minutes, some of the examples of what we do, at least here. So this is, one is called the performing successful cataract surgery. We no more call it as complication meeting. Those days we call it as, so let's make cataract surgery better. So all their videos are recorded, and every Friday I sit with them and review. And then what we found that was just not telling them the problem, just telling them what happened during the surgery, right? How long did that case took? You can see that. It took 1 hour, 34 minutes from a resident who has done already 1,300 surgeries. But it was a difficult case. Somebody took 1 hour, 13 minutes. Did you call another surgeon? How much time did the other surgeon spend on your case? If they start looking at all that, they think twice before even proceeding in a tough case or where they have a difficulty. They call for help. And many of the times what we have seen is there is a significant reduction in the complications. Now my resident or the trainee complication is almost less than 1.5. Normally it is 3-4. So, and this indirectly has got a lot of impact. So this week we had to do 1,000 camp surgeries and 1,100 free direct and paying. So this brings a lot of efficiency. Otherwise, you can't finish the list at the end of the day. So this is another thing. If you have information technology, I'm sure you have EMR, you can bring a lot of accountability. Who saw the patient? Who operated on the patient? Who did this test? So this brings that. Before, when it was written case, they'll say, "Ivanga pannanga sir, avanga pannanga sir, avanga ezhudanga sir, avanga ezhudhu sir." So all that will happen. Even the handwriting may not be proper. But here, now you bring in a kind of accountability. This is another interesting thing which we started doing some time back. You have a certain team doing certain job, but after that you will find they disappear from there for whatever reason. Camp things kudukku pono, and the thanni bottle pudikka pono, inga pono, anga pono. That is the time when somebody else comes into that job, and then you have an error or something like an incident happening. So what we did was, we said, these are the people who are going to do this job, and they are going to be there, including who is going to give coffee. Because many of the time when the patient comes back, 2 or 3 people will go and complain saying that I didn't get a coffee. So that is the time when that girl disappeared. Somebody else didn't realize that they didn't get a coffee. So even who gives a coffee, who is checking the toilet in the daycare area, if you can bring that kind of accountability, you will see a significant change in the way you practice. You think it's happening daily as a job, but in that particular time or in that particular day, it was not happening. So this kind of individual accountability will also bring in a team accountability. This is one thing which we do routinely in our practice. At the end of the day, the next day's list is planned. So you know that how many you expect from every single surgeon so that you can finish the list in time. So for example, like I have to do 20, and then some of my colleagues have to do 18. This is from their experience. They can do 5 or 6 phaco's per hour, 3 to 4 hours. So this is planned. And then in the evening, you get a list like this. Now, how many was expected and how many you had to perform. Usually it matches. Now, if it doesn't match, you can really find out what is the problem. Maybe the surgeon had a major complication, like a nucleus drop or a PPC or something else, or a machine failure. For example, here you see one of the surgeons was supposed to do 19 and did 13. And that particular day, there was a phaco machine failure and they had to change the machine. So you can go into sometimes into that individual things and then find out where that accountability has gone beyond your control. So this is another thing which now we routinely again practice. Now we're huddling in different places. So this is a huddle which happens between the supervisors and managers every day. So every day there are several issues. Sometimes you just discuss there and then you forget. So now everything is documented like this. Now, like simple things. This guarded prognosis was missing. Then now we have a subtle reminder in the EMR. So every time there is GVP form missing, this was a major problem. So now it reminds me. If I put a guarded prognosis, it'll remind me, did you print the form? Did you sign the form? So bringing these reminders for the problems you discuss and then engineering that solutions. Sometimes you have to daily realize that you need some action plan. And also this action plan, somebody has to take care of that action plan. You can't just say the team will do it. It may not happen. So individually, we have people responsible for some of these issues so that they can also come up with some kind of a solutions. And then we would recommend that internally or to even the central office to implement it. This is one thing our chairman closely monitors, and he sends to all our HODs every month, Monday. Every month, the first day you will get this. How many people were on time? How many people were little late? Little late is 4 or 5 minutes. More, your very late is beyond 15 minutes. So this you can critically monitor because it's all important. At the end of the day, discipline is so important, right? For your system. What time they come in is so important. So the heads of the department get this from the chairman, and then they can talk to their team. If somebody is really coming very late regularly, then you can talk. If it is 1 or 2 days here and there, they had some difficulty, then it is fine. So sometimes some of these data really help you in doing certain things. So these are some of the reminders I just wanted to show you. Like we have all our computers saying ask for complaint. It's so sad to say ask for complaint, right? You have to ask the complaint, but sometimes it doesn't happen. You just make them put on the slit lamp and then start seeing them. So you say ask complaint, no ID, no test. This is for again safety. These are reminders which you give to your medical team, to your nursing team. Without ID, don't do any entry into the system. Make sure that you are putting it in the right record. So things like this, that simple star is so important. That means that particular patient is not very happy inside the system. We call it as unhappy patient. So we star him and then you really take care of him. In the meaning, you empathize with him, you talk in the same language, even if he's asking a lot of questions, you be kind of patient with him. There are subtle things which can help you. Instead of saying there, alerting and saying unhappy patient, then he would also see in your record and say, no, this. So simple stars are simple things which your system knows and all the people who are involved in the system knows, then it would work. This is something which recently we did. One of our housekeepers came up with this brilliant idea. So there are people dropping a lot of waste. We are keeping on collecting it in the day. End of the day, we are cleaning. But can we kind of create an accountability to the patients? I said, what do you want to do? Keep this acrylic box and put all the dustbin which we collect in the daytime in between. I said, brilliant idea. You do it. So this month, this May month, so last April, it was clean. It was like, they say that significantly it's reducing in the last 3-4 months of this practice. Now people come and see there. Some of the patients take pictures of this. And then they also share on social media. Things like this. Even you can make your customers or your patients accountable. So what is more important is the other team, making your team answerable, which is the most difficult one, and it is very hard to enforce. And we do it in a certain way. One is the regular huddle which happens. Now you just listen to one of the daycare huddle.
நாளைக்கு டேக்கர் வந்து டோட்டல் டேக்கர் பேஷண்ட் வந்து 104 பேஷண்ட், ஐடி பேஷண்ட் வந்து 16 பேர், பிசி சேம் டே பேஷண்ட் வந்து 12 பேர், டோட்டலாக 132 பேஷண்ட்ஸு. அதில் நம்ம ஐஸ் மானிட்டர் பண்ண வேண்டிய பேஷண்ட் 10 பேஷண்ட். நம்பர் ஆஃப் சேர்ஸ் வந்து அவுட் சைட் வந்து 85 சேர்.
So even the number of chairs is very important, right? So you have to make sure that you have adequate chairs for the number of daycares you. So small things like that they discuss, in addition to what problems they had the previous day, any incidents, errors. Same way in the OT, they huddle like this, no?
Today issue வந்துட்டு fake machine ரெண்டு OT ல வர்க் ஆகல. எந்த OT லனா VOT லயோ and GOT லயோ.
So this kind of huddle is so important. So every day, either in the early morning or in the late in the evening, if you make your team sit and talk, and then if they have some major problems, if they pass it to the supervisors, then we can find solutions for some problems. So I'll just share with you a couple of examples before I finish. Now, this is one thing which we are trying to improve now. Now, there is less cashless payments. Somewhere there was a blame game happening. MRD was saying counselors are not preparing the patient. The counselors are saying MRD is not improving the cashless payments. So if you see, our payment was like roughly 30%. The rest 70% was cash. We're seeing how to improve. And then I had to see the mirror and say, there is some problem with us also. They're saying call was dropping, it was not working properly. So the next patient wants to pay in cash because the GPay is not working. So we have to really see where the problem is. And then, this is something interesting. When you say accountability, without empowering, then you kind of blame. But once you have empowerment but no accountability, then you have a low performance. But if you can empower them, and if they are accountable also, I'm sure you'll have high performance. And this is an example where we saw that. So then we had to intervene and help them and installed a couple of 5G repeaters. And then we saw it going to 50%. And then the team started becoming accountable. Now it is working now. So they started being accountable. And then accountability and empowerment together, now the data has gone to 80%. Consistently for the last couple of months now. So this is the kind of change which we can see. But we'll have to see where the problem is and try to help the team. And this is the final thing on ownership. What one thinks as his own, like the boy we saw, he was owning that problem. It is kind of a commitment. Nobody can force it on anybody. And it cannot be made into a system. It's very, very difficult. And only usually if you have a very good, friendly and open system, you can have a lot of people who take that ownership within your system. It may be in your optical, it may be in your pharmacy. So when you bring in that kind of ownership, it kind of promotes innovation and also increases the work satisfaction. So I'll just share this one example before I end. So this was during the COVID time. You see this lady there. She's obese. She's kind of very difficult to walk around. She was seen in one of our vision centers, and she came for a pre-operative workup. Then she came for surgery, and then she came for follow-up, because usually the vision centers are very close. They do daycare surgery for them. And then they realized that she had so much of difficulty to come in and go. And then they realized she had a renal failure. She had a kidney transplant. She's on immunosuppressives. So the team was so upset, the team of free hospital managers and the team who were there, and they owned this there as a problem. And then they asked us, why are we doing this? Why are we doing 3 visits? Can we make 3 visits into 1 visit? Can the workup be happen in the vision center? Can the follow-up happen in the vision center? And they can come only on the day of surgery, which significantly impacted during COVID and post-COVID. Now it is only 1 visit for the vision center patients who come for surgery. And now this has been actually done in all our centers. To begin with, it happened in Pondi during the COVID time, and the data would speak for it. Now there was a significant reduction of their cost and travel. The acceptance went up. More number of VC patients were ready for surgery. And there was a significant impact following this ownership of the team. So the accountable team here, took interest and they make a radical change in the way you practice. And now this year, now I was just looking at this year data, it's almost touching 80%. So that's the way you can change your team from just being responsible to being more accountable. And once they are accountable, they will also own your system, not become partners with you. So they'll make your hospital still better. Thank you.